All right. Welcome to another episode of Eat, Moke, Drink. Look, it's been a long time since my last confession, I must say. So I've been, if you've been out of the loop in my personal life, which is probably hard to do considering that I kind of put all that shit here. I have been traveling for the last 2 years with my wife, and we have just been city to city, exploring the different places. And with that, I don't have access to my club bottles. So the clubs that we have in New Zealand, the club tastings that we have in New Zealand, I get some of my bottles there that I try. And so, to be honest, I haven't had much whiskey at all. While overseas. I tend to get my fill at the tasting, which is good because it's healthier, and I tend to drink better. I don't want to go to a bar and drink a piece of shit bottle they have just because I want whiskey. I'm not one of those. I cannot be bothered. Anyway, look. Today, I actually just wanted to do a bit of a hello and welcome back. I'm back. I'm fucking back. I think I'm back. Is that what John Wick says? I think I'm back. You know? Yeah, so I'm back. I have a shitload of bottles and samples to review. And I have a shitload of sessions that we're going to have in the next few months that's going to add to that pile. So there's not going to be a shortage of any reviews. So anyway, good to be back in New Zealand, and back reviewing whiskies and talking about whiskey. So today's going to be an easygoing one. I just want to get my palate reset. Okay, I want to drink some cask strength shit and something that tickles my balls. I don't want to have to, I don't want something too ridiculous and too expensive and too rare, because I am trying to still get my palate back to getting accustomed to the good shit, okay? Because when you're in Europe, Turkey, wherever, most of the drinks that you're having are actually just beers or shitty local spirit. And trigger warning, but they're shitty. So today, I want to discuss a couple of things, because while I was away, I've been a member of a couple of whiskey groups, online where, you know, we discuss all sorts of whiskey shit. I mean, that's what we do. We discuss whiskey shit, right? Just making sure it's recording. So we discuss whiskey shit, and something that came up, I saw this Instagram post. Sorry, my ear's a little bit blocked. I saw this Instagram post and I found it quite interesting, because there's a big movement out there where women are saying that whiskey is not just a man's drink. Well, fuck me in the eye hole, because I never thought whiskey was a man's drink. Okay? I've never thought that, although most of the drinkers that I know that drink whiskey are men. Whiskey drinkers are men. In fact, I hardly know any women that drink whiskey. My wife loves whiskey, but I hardly know any women that drink whiskey. Why is that? That's a good question. Is it part conditioning? Is it part the flavor profile? Men are from Mars, women are from Venus and all that shit. We just have different taste buds, and, you know, some men might want super sweet drinks, and some women on the edge cases might want that. Who knows? Has there a study been done? No. I'm sure somewhere down the line, some joker's going to do a fucking PhD on it and come up with some sort of conclusion. But this is what annoys me the most. Leave whiskey for appreciation and drinking. Leave whiskey for drinking, because it's meant to be enjoyed with people. Don't politicize it, okay? Don't politicize it and make it seem like there's a generation of people or a group of people, or what I've been seeing lately is old boomer white men is the fucking number one enemy. Don't do that. Don't do that. Let's discuss why whiskey is predominantly consumed by men. Let's get realistic here, okay? Because for decades of marketing, it was targeted to be a masculine and manly drink. And as a woman, you shouldn't drink masculine, manly drink. And this is over eras and eras of marketing. Who did that? Did the drinkers did that? No. Humans are very susceptible to marketing and suggestion. I'll tell you who did that. the companies themselves. They came up with a plan and said, look, let's target men. Let's make men more masculine. Let's make James Bond drink scotch, you know, whatever the fuck it is. Let's make men more masculine by drinking whiskey, and let's market whiskey to men. Okay, that's what they did. Let's market mixes to women because it's more feminine. They did that. The drinkers didn't do that. We didn't do that. People my age didn't do that. White boomer men who drink whiskey didn't do that. It's a room full of marketing execs and said, how do we create a brand for whiskey that will maximally extract money and profit from the public? And that's what they did. If you're looking for someone to blame, go back to the company paying you for your influencing for your Instagram posts. Go back to the company paying your bills. Go back to the company that's selling the product, because they did that, not the drinkers. The drinkers never did that. It's the company. And then guess what happens? Guess what happens? It reaches a point where all the men that like whiskey has probably gone, you know what? We're all drinking whiskey now because you've marketed it to us, and actually it is but bloody delicious. And guess what? All these big companies are sitting around going, okay, we need growth. We need more growth. So where to next? Well, there's two options. One, China, right? Let's go to China and Asia. Let's market the shit out of that. Done. Oh, wait a minute. Suddenly we realize we've neglected half the entire population because we've told them, no, don't drink whiskey because you'll become too masculine. Oh, no. Let's change the narrative now and let's shit on you again and say, no. Women can drink whiskey. So here we go. Anna Paquin is drinking Glenlivet and whatever the hell. Now Beyonce has a whiskey bottle. Does she even like whiskey? You know, this is the cynicism of some of these companies and marketing companies. So if you're looking for someone to blame, don't blame the men. Blame the companies that you associate with. Blame the companies that are the ones that picked and chose who they marketed to and sold to. Now realizing they've neglected half the entire fucking population. That is who you blame. So now, rant done. Whiskey is for everyone. Whiskey is for everyone who wants to appreciate something fine, something delicious, something that's relaxing. No one in our whiskey club has ever said whiskey are for men. Okay, we love having women around, and frankly, having women around in our tasting is quite a good, diverse way to change the conversation. Otherwise, it's just a giant sausage fest. Okay, we love having women in our tastings. But when I see these posts on Instagram and bleeding heart people, whatever, saying, oh, you know, blah, blah, this, I have never been to a whiskey event where someone felt unwelcome or abused because they were women. In fact, when there is a whiskey event, people tend to get excited that there's women because there's someone else drinking the whiskey apart from men, same old men, okay? So it's the company's fault that they market it to men. Blame them. Don't blame the drinkers. Don't blame a group of a generation, an entire generation. Don't go blame an entire race of people that happen to be in that generation. It is not their fault. It is actually the company's fault because they were cynical and all they cared about were profits at the time, and now all they care about is profit again. So that brings us to our next conversation. Boom! Our next conversation is distilleries can make excellent whiskey that isn't boring and isn't dumb, okay? A lot of distilleries make boring whiskey. Once you get to a certain point, you're just repeating the same thing over and over again. To me, it's a version of insanity. Repeating the same drink, hoping for a different experience. You're not going to get it. Every time you drink a distillery bottling, in my opinion, most distillery bottlings, the same finite experience you get. It gets boring, it gets tiresome, and it gets repetitive. But you know what? As of late, in the relatively recent history of the whiskey world, Diageo have been releasing their special releases, and holy balls of the Christ. And his balls are indeed holy. Christ's balls are holy. Oh, it's fallen, threw the box away. So these are fantastic. These are the Diageo special releases. Clynelish, Laga, I think this one is tequila cask or something. Yeah, it's from a Don Julio tequila cask. They really have met the market at where the market wanted them to be. Cask strength, presumably smaller runs of barrels, and a much interesting drink. So I'm drinking the Clynelish, and I tell you what, we get these whiskies now for every time they get released. Every year we will get the whole array of them, except for maybe Mortlock, because that's a fucking rip-off. But fantastic. Chewy mouthfeel, waxy, green apple, honey mead, honey, a little floral sweetness, a little bit of citrus bitterness in the back end. The Clynelish 10-year-old compared to the Clynelish 14 standard bottling is like an overachieving younger child and a lazy stoner older brother or daughter, equal opportunity. This is 57.5% of absolute beauty, okay? I love these. And once again, the market saw that independent bottles and whatnot, a single malt is starting to take off. So guess what they do? They're like, you know what? We can do that too. And they started doing it. Once again, for years and years, these companies, they didn't care about your drinking experience. Don't make the mistake of them thinking that's about your drinking experience. I mean, let's look at LVMH. And no, I'm not trashing LVMH, but let's look at their marketing team, marketing ardbeg. Ardbeg was great. Today, ardbeg can be so freaking boring and just underpowered and underflavored. It's just so much marketing and hype. The artwork is great. It's beautiful. The launch packages and the launch art and the launch marketing is so good. But man, maybe they should consult whiskey drinkers, proper whiskey drinkers, than marketing teams. If they consulted both, maybe they'd come up with something better. But instead, it's all about the bottom line. And I'm a capitalist. I'm a capitalist through and through. Don't get me wrong, right? I ain't a Marxist. I don't care. I'm a capitalist. But it just shows you the cynicism, though. They don't care about the drinking experience. It's all about the bottom line. And so these guys, for years and years, they don't focus on the drinking experience and the bespoke nature of higher ABVs. They just don't care. And then suddenly there's a massive marketing campaign with Diageo special releases because they realize, you know what, there's a big group of people that want something a little different, something a little bit more interesting. And it took them so long to do it because all they cared about was volume, right? But hey, anyway, thank goodness that they did that, because now at least you know, apart from independent bottles, you have something a little bit different, okay? A little bit more interesting that isn't your boring regular shit like Johnny Walker. But delicious, absolutely phenomenal. These releases to me are generally so good, so much potential. For a 10-year-old Clynelish, man, this thing punches. This is like that high school student. This is like that high school student that manages to seduce his teacher, right? This is that. Punches above his weight. Crazy. Now let's try the Lagavulin in a way. Like I said, I'm just trying to get usually I wouldn't review these because they come out every year and I can only drink so much. But today I'm just going to do a quick rundown. Today's a bit of a state of the nation, what I've been doing, a welcome back, what grinds my gears type of thing, a little bit of bitching. Let's try this lager. Oh man, look, I'll tell you, I've been loving the Lagavulin tequila casks lately. I've been loving the Isla Mezcal or tequila casks lately. They've been fantastic. They've been so good. Anyway, look, until next time, make sure you eat, smoke, drink. And like I said, this video is a little bit of a hello, welcome back, I'm back. Let me talk about what's grinding my gears the last 11 months and what I've found out there. So biggest lessons is the world is fucked. A lot of the world is screwed, but it's still a beautiful place to go travel around and visit, especially if you're eating the shit out of food. It's fantastic. I am back. I'm going to start filming again, and this is one of many coming up. I have a cognac night for our club, so I'm going to have a shitload of cognac to review. We're going to have a Japanese whiskey night. I'm going to have 9 whiskeys to review. Well, I'm actually going to structure that a little bit differently. I'm going to maybe do you know, 12 versus 18 and do the entry level stuff and see. Anyway, I'll figure it out. My next video is actually going to be a mezcal one, something a little bit different and fun, because I did visit Oaxaca. So let's talk about mezcal a little bit, and let's try something a little bit weird and different. Until next time, make sure you eat, smoke, drink. Cheers, baby. Cheers.